Hello everyone, I'm Paul and this is problem 1510, Stone Game 4. This is a reasonably hard problem and the key to solve it is dynamic programming, so let's start. Alice and Bob are playing a game and Alice starts first. There are n stones in a pile, for example 4. On each player's turn, the player can remove any non-zero square number of stones from the pile, and if a player cannot make a move, he or she loses the game. So, given a positive integer n, we have to return true if Alice wins the game or false otherwise, assuming that both players play optimally. So here we have 4 stones and Alice starts first. She has 2 choices. She can take 1 square stones or 2 square stones. She can't take 3 square stones because this is equal to 9 and 9 is larger than 4. So she has these 2 choices. If she takes 1 stone, next Bob has 3 stones remaining. If she takes 4 stones instead, next Bob has 0 stones remaining, which means that Bob loses. Remember that both players are playing optimally, so if we start with Alice and we are playing optimally, we will start by taking 4 stones. Next here, Bob loses, which means that Alice wins, and if Alice wins, we have to return true, so the result here is true. So the main idea here is the following. Let's say that n is equal to 5. First we have Alice's turn, and she has 2 choices. If she takes 1 stone, next Bob has 4 remaining, and if she takes 4 stones, next Bob has 1 remaining, right? Which means that we have 2 possible scenarios. So if we are playing optimally, which scenario should we pick? Well, the answer is that we don't know. We should explore more scenarios according to each of these scenarios. So we are solving small subproblems and using those results to solve larger subproblems. This is the definition of dynamic programming. And here you can see the rest of the tree. If we have Bob's turn and we are standing here, we have 2 choices. If we take 1 stone, next there are 3 remaining, and if we take 4, we have 0. Next in Alice's turn, we have these 3 possible scenarios. Next in Bob's turn, if we come from this scenario, we have 2 stones remaining, which means that we have to take 1. Next in Alice's turn, we take 1. And here, Bob has 0 stones remaining, which means that Bob loses. So we can say that our base case is, if the number of remaining stones is equal to 0, we return false, which means that the current player loses. Now we are going back to the root, which means that next we are here. So if we are Alice, we have 1 stone remaining and we take it, Bob loses, which means that Alice wins. So here we return true, okay? This player in this scenario wins. Once again, going back to the root, if we are standing here at Bob's turn, we have 2 stones to take and we decide to take 1. If we take 1, the end scenario is that Alice wins because this is a true, which means that here we lose, so we return false. Next, we are looking at this scenario. We have 3 stones remaining, we took 1, so next Bob had 2, Bob lost, and this means that Alice wins in this scenario, so here we return true. But there's another scenario at this level. Alice might be out of stones, in which case we return false. Here, Alice loses. And we are still going back to the root. Here we have 2 possible outcomes. So what's the result in this scenario? Well, remember that both players are playing optimally. Bob has 2 choices. If he takes 1 stone, next Alice has 3. If he takes 4, next Alice has 0. Given that this player is playing optimally, he will take 4 stones. Okay, so Alice will lose, which means that Bob will win. This returns true. And how about this branch? Well, here we have a 0, which means that Alice loses, so this is a false, which means that Bob wins here. This is a true. And here, what do we return? If we take only 1 stone, Bob wins, which means that we lose here. And if we take 4 stones, Bob wins, which means that we lose here. So the final result for n is equal to 5 is false. One final thing to mention is that, as you can see here, we are repeating states. So if we want to avoid repeated work, we should cache unique calls. And by doing this, overall time complexity is big O of n times the square root of n. Why? Well, because we have this amount of levels as a maximum, and from each level we are iterating square numbers, every possible square number. For example, here we have 2 possible scenarios. If we have a larger number, we might have more scenarios, okay? And overall space complexity is big O of n, which is given by caching and by the call stack. So with this in mind, let's go with the code. We will use a recursive DP approach, so we have a function DP which takes a number. This is the reminder, which is initially n, and we can say if this number is equal to 0, the current player loses, so we can return false. Else we can iterate different squares. So for x in range, we go from 1 up to the square root of the reminder, and we need to transform this into an integer. And we want to include this last number. Remember that this side is non-inclusive, so here we need to add 1. And now we can say if not dp with this reminder minus the current square, meaning x to the power of 2, then we can return true. And just to be clear, this means that if we decide to take the current square, we subtract it from the corresponding reminder, and if this next scenario returns false, this means that the next player loses, which means that the current player wins, okay? That's why here we return true. Now, if we reach the end of this for loop and we don't return anything, this means that we never return true, so we can just return false. And the first level of our decision tree corresponds to Alice, because remember that Alice starts first. So if this function returns true, Alice wins, else Bob wins. Okay, so here we can just return dp with n. And we need to cache this, so up here we can use cache in Python. So let's submit this and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.